Today we are going to be doing an Irish crochet leaf using embroidery floss. So if you're looking to do a slightly larger crochet project and you want to add a pop of color to it, this is a great way to do it. For this project, you're only going to need 3 items: your embroidery floss, a size C or 2.75 millimeter crochet hook, and your scissors. With your embroidery floss, you are going to chain 10. Now going back along your chain, you're going to skip the first stitch next to your hook, and you're going to single crochet in the next 9 stitches. Embroidery floss can be a bit tricky where your hook goes through it. That's all right. And Irish crochet is all about the artistry. So as you can see here, I'm in my last chain, but this yarn is saying no ma'am. I've got 2 choices. I can either try to force it, make myself angry. I can loosen up a little bit and my yarn will follow, or I can just choose to not work with that piece. And all of these answers are correct. We've talked about this before, but Irish crochet isn't a science, and it's okay if you make mistakes. They are just happy little accidents. All right, so I've come to the end of my first single crochet row. I'm now going to chain 3. I'm going to show you guys this trick. You don't have to. When I've got my ends here, I go ahead and I work them into my piece. This helps me to avoid having to weave them in later if I can just work them in now. So I've chained 3. Now I'm not going to turn my work. I'm actually going to flip it over. So now I'm going to work along the bottom side of that initial chain single crochet row. I'm going to single crochet 7. So starting in my first stitch here, let's see if we can make it work. There we go. Very nice. 1, 2, 6, 7. This is now the center of my leaf, and we will be working ribs going down both sides of the leaf. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. We're going to turn our work, and now we are going to work 7 stitches down, starting with the first single crochet from your hook. So we have 1, 2. Oh, and here's one of those happy little accidents. So I said that we were gonna single crochet 7, but I can see I've got one more single crochet here, so I'm gonna go ahead and put a single crochet. Because now what I'm going to do here in my chain 3 loop is I'm going to single crochet under the chain. So when I say under the chain, what we're doing is we are going underneath that chain rather than into the chain stitch itself. Now I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go underneath my chain again and do another single crochet. And I'm okay if I pick up this little tail here and start weaving it into my work again because I want to hide it anyways. And now I'm going to do 6 single crochets going back up the other side. So essentially what we're doing is we're working up and down our leaf here. 1, 2, and that is 6. And you can see that I'm not reaching all the way up to the top of my project, and that's okay. I don't want to. So I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, And at this point, I'm gonna turn my work. When we say turn in crochet, we mean flip it over. And I repeat. Until we have 6 ribs. Now I'm going to go ahead and make this a smaller leaf so that I can show you guys how we're finishing off. If you do the full size, your leaf is going to look something like this. You will want to block your work when you're done. That way it gets a nice smooth, even, it's not curling in on itself unless you want that look. But when we're finishing off, we're actually going to be creating this center line going up your leaf. So when you've decided my leaf is as big as I want it to be, you are going to end when you get back down to your center. So for this leaf, I'm going to chain 3. I'm going to turn my work. And I'm going to single crochet down the row. So I've just done my 7th single crochet. To get my thread nice and center, I'm going to do one final single crochet under my chain 3 arch, and that is where I end. Now what we're going to be doing is we are going to be slip stitching up the center. So my working thread here, I'm going to have it underneath my leaf. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hook and going down between my chain 3 arches here, I'm going to pick up that working thread and I'm going to pull it through the loop that's on my hook. So let me show you that again. Real easy. I go down in between my next 2 chain 3s. Go. Pick up my thread, pull it through the loop on my hook. And you're going to continue in that manner up the center of your leaf. So go down, pull up, pull through. Go down, pull up, pull through. In fact, I think, no, I'm just gonna leave it right there. So I've got one chain 3 arch that I'm not going to stitch around. So at this point, I'm going to take my scissors, cut off so I've got enough of a tail that I can work in. And I'm going to fasten off. So the way that I fasten off is I pull up my loop. So there's plenty of space there. I take my tail, I pull it through again, and then I pull it tight. And it creates this nice little, very little knot. So for working in the tail and on your leaf, I choose to work it in and around my, my center stitch. And I work it on the back, that way I don't obstruct or mess with this beautiful pattern on the front. But the choice is up to you how you want to work in your tail. So using my hook, I go underneath that slip stitch and pull it through. And I just go back and forth from one side to the other. And my stitches are pretty tight, so you kind of got to work your hook under them. There we go. Just pulling in that tail, weaving it in until I feel it's secure enough that I can clip the end and my work isn't going to unravel or the tail isn't going to come loose. And if I really want to be secure, I'll then work the tail back up on itself. You don't need to worry about the back of your Irish crochet motif looking funny for the most part. The majority of the projects where you're using these motifs, they're laying up against something. Might be a piece of clothing. They might be laying on a table as like a doily. But nobody's gonna see that backside. And there you have your Irish crochet leaf. These would then get worked into your larger projects, which we will cover on our next video.